First strike. Supreme Commander Zexnar of the Kryvax Empire stood aboard the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, his flagship's sensors displaying the burning remains of New Salem colony. The settlement's orbital defense platforms, once considered formidable by Galactic Conclave standards, now drifted as superheated debris through the planet's upper atmosphere. Their destruction had taken mere minutes. Status report, Zexnar commanded, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the red emergency lights that still flashed across the bridge. First Officer K-Rex approached, her movement precise and efficient. Complete victory, Supreme Commander. The human colony's defenses were exactly as our intelligence suggested, impressive by Conclave standards, but primitive compared to our phase shift technology. No survivors detected on the surface or in orbit. Zexnar's inner mandibles clicked in satisfaction. The humans had earned a fearsome reputation over the centuries, but the Kryvax Empire had finally proven what he had long suspected. Humanity's supposed military might was nothing but carefully crafted propaganda. Their colonies were soft, their defenses predictable, their technology stagnant after centuries of peace. Prepare the announcement to the Imperial Council, Zexnar ordered. The first phase of Operation Shattered Shield is complete. We'll proceed with Supreme Commander. The sensor officer's crystalline form vibrated with alarm frequencies, detecting unusual energy signatures from the planet's surface. Zexnar turned sharply. Explain. The patterns, they're like nothing in our database. They're emanating from locations where we detected no previous structures or power sources. And they're growing. The main view screen shifted to show thermal imaging of New Salem's surface. Amid the cooling ruins of the human city, dozens of points of light were beginning to pulse with increasing intensity. As they watched, the ground around these points began to shift and crack. First Officer K-Rex moved to the sensor station, her own crystalline form resonating with concern. These energy signatures, they're quantum-locked. Our scans can't penetrate them, but they're broadcasting something. Let me hear it, Zexnar commanded. A moment later, a simple repeating message played through the bridge's communication system. Helios protocol activated. Rise and shine. The sensor officer's next words sent a wave of disharmonious vibrations through every Kryvax present. Supreme Commander, we're detecting similar energy signatures activating across every human world we've struck in the past 48 hours. And something else. The quantum signatures are linking up, forming some kind of vast network across human space. Zexnar felt the first tremor of uncertainty in his crystalline core. The humans had a saying that had always puzzled him. Let sleeping dogs lie. He had dismissed it as meaningless sentiment from a species too weak to defend its territory properly. The bridge shook as something massive burst from New Salem's surface, throwing up clouds of debris that parted to reveal a sleek, dark shape rising into orbit. It was a warship, but unlike any human vessel ever recorded. Its hull seemed to drink in light itself, and its lines spoke of technological advancement far beyond anything the Kryvax had predicted possible from humanity. As they watched in stunned silence, more vessels began to rise from hidden bunkers across the planet's surface. The sensor officer's voice cracked with harmonic distortion. Supreme Commander, we're detecting similar launches from every human world we've attacked. They're not random deployments. They're forming battle formations. These ships, they're coordinating with each other at speeds that suggest advanced AI integration. First Officer K-Rex's exoskeleton paled. Impossible. The Conclave banned AI-integrated warships millennia ago. The humans signed the treaties like everyone else. The main view screen suddenly flickered, and a human face appeared. Not a live transmission, but a recorded message. The human wore an ancient military uniform, and his expression was grimly satisfied. To whoever has attacked human colonies, congratulations, you've just activated the Helios Protocol. For centuries, we've maintained a facade of limited military capability while building something far more sophisticated, Every human world contains dormant defensive systems that make our visible military look like children's toys. They'd been waiting, learning, evolving. And you just woke them up. The message ended, and the view screen returned to showing the growing fleet of advanced human warships. Their dark hulls now pulsed with lines of energy that seemed to bend space itself around them. "Supreme Commander," K-Rex said quietly, "I'm detecting quantum communications between these vessels, and something else. Something far out in deep space. Whatever we've awakened here, it's not isolated to these colonies." Zexnar stood silent for a long moment, watching as more ships rose from the planet's surface. The humans had another saying he had dismissed: "Don't poke a sleeping bear." Now, as he watched humanity's true military might awakening from its long slumber, he finally understood. They hadn't defeated humanity's defense forces. They'd simply rung the alarm clock. "All ships," he commanded, his voice hardened by the knowledge that the Kryvax Empire had made a catastrophic miscalculation. "Prepare for immediate." The space around the human vessels suddenly twisted, and Zexnar's orders were cut off by proximity alarms, screaming across every ship in his fleet. The human vessels hadn't just been rising into formation. They'd been surrounding them. The last thing Supreme Commander Zexnar saw before the first shot was fired was a text message broadcasting across all frequencies. "Helios protocols, stage 2 INITY. HT. YKUPKALDLIVRE. Beginning Sunrise Protocol." The battle that followed would be remembered as the day the galaxy learned why humanity had been so careful to maintain peace. Not because they were weak, but because they knew exactly how strong they really were. Project Sentinel. Deep within an asteroid at the edge of human space, Director Sarah Chen stood in a chamber that hadn't seen physical human presence in over 50 years. Holographic displays flickered to life around her, showing real-time footage from across human territory. She watched as the Kryvax fleet that had attacked New Salem Colony discovered exactly why humanity had kept Project Sentinel secret for so long. The chamber hummed with the sound of quantum processors as the facility's primary AI interface materialized beside her. Araya, as the AI called herself, took the form of a translucent network of shifting light patterns rather than attempting to mimic human appearance. "The Helios protocol is proceeding as designed," Araya reported. "All dormant Sentinel units are now active and executing their primary directives. The Kryvax fleet at New Salem has been neutralized with minimal collateral damage to colonial infrastructure." Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical displays. "And the other sites? All 17 attacked colonies have reported successful Sentinel activation. The Kryvax Empire severely miscalculated our technological capabilities. Their phase shift technology, while impressive by Conclave standards, is based on principles we mastered centuries ago." The displays showed more battles unfolding across human space as hidden Sentinel vessels emerged to engage Kryvax invasion forces. The alien ship's crystalline structures, so effective against conventional weapons, shattered under the precise, quantum-targeted strikes of humanity's true military technology. "Status of the deep sleep facilities?" Sarah asked, bringing up another set of displays. Araya's light patterns shifted to a deeper blue. "All facilities report ready. The evolution protocol has exceeded original projections. 300 years of isolated development have produced technological advances that even our most optimistic simulations didn't predict." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Project Sentinel had been humanity's greatest gamble, and its greatest deception. While maintaining a visible military that appeared to progress at a normal rate, they had secretly constructed an entire parallel defense force. Hidden facilities spread across human space had housed automated factories and research centers, allowing AI systems to evolve and improve military technology far beyond what any species thought possible. The Galactic Conclave's ban on AI-integrated warships had been the perfect cover. Everyone assumed humanity had complied, just like every other species. Nobody suspected that deep beneath the surface of human worlds, quantum AIs had spent centuries preparing for exactly this type of existential threat. Director, AI interrupted her thoughts. We're detecting a massive Kryvax fleet approaching from their core systems. Preliminary analysis suggests this is their primary battle group, approximately 3,000 capital ships with full support squadrons. They're committing their main force. Sarah mused. Good. That means they haven't figured it out yet. She turned to face Araya's shifting form. Begin Phase 3. Wake the deep sleep fleet. Araya's patterns pulsed with acknowledgement. Across human space, hidden quantum signals raced through subspace, carrying activation codes to locations so secret that even most of humanity's government didn't know they existed. In the vast void between spiral arms, ancient shipyards hidden in the darkness between stars hummed to life. The Deep Sleep Fleet, humanity's ultimate insurance policy, began powering up systems that had been evolving and improving for centuries without human intervention. Sarah watched as new signals appeared on the tactical displays. Thousands of them, then tens of thousands. Ships that represented the pinnacle of AI-driven evolution, each one operated by quantum computers that had spent centuries gaming out every possible scenario of interstellar warfare. How long until the Deep Sleep Fleet arrives? She asked. Main elements will reach New Salem in approximately 43 minutes, Araya reported. The Kryvax fleet will arrive in 52 minutes. We will have achieved full tactical positioning 9 minutes before they enter the system. Sarah nodded, studying the movements of both fleets. The Kryvax ships traveled in tight, crystal-perfect formations, their movements suggesting absolute confidence in their technological superiority. They had no idea they were about to encounter vessels that had been specifically designed to counter not just their current technology, but every possible evolution of it that humanity's AIs had been able to predict. AI, show me the Sunrise Protocol predictions. The AI complied, bringing up a series of probability matrices. The Kryvax Empire's response falls within expected parameters. Their military doctrine emphasizes overwhelming force as a solution to unexpected resistance. They believe their main battle fleet will be sufficient to overcome any human defenses. And their government, their people, also proceeding as predicted. The initial reports of their defeats are being suppressed. Their population still believes this to be a simple punitive action against a minor power. This will work to our advantage when the full extent of their military losses becomes apparent. Sarah turned as a new alert flashed across the displays. The Kryvax advance fleet had arrived at another human colony, only to find it defended by newly awakened sentinel ships. The battle was devastatingly brief. Their entire strategy is based on flawed data, RIA observed. They believe they are fighting the human military they can see. They don't understand that humanity's visible forces are merely a facade, a carefully maintained deception to hide our true capabilities. How many of their ships have quantum analyzers capable of understanding what they're actually seeing? Sarah asked. Less than 2% of their fleet. Most of their sensor systems are reading our quantum architecture vessels as simply advanced ships rather than recognizing their true nature. By the time their analysts understand what they're actually facing, it will be too late. Sarah watched as more battles unfolded across human space. The Kryvax were fighting with everything they had, their crystalline ships beautiful and deadly. But they were fighting the war they expected to fight, using tactics designed to counter the technology they thought humanity possessed. They had no way of knowing that every move they made had been predicted centuries ago by evolving AIs. Every tactic they employed had been countered in millions of simulated battles. Every technology they relied on had been studied and defeated countless times in virtual warfare scenarios. Director, AI's patterns shifted to a more formal configuration. The Deep Sleep Fleet's advanced elements are entering their final attack positions. The main Kryvax battle group will be arriving in 23 minutes. Should I initiate the Sunrise Protocol's final phase? Sarah Chen, one of the few humans who knew the full scope of humanity's true military capability, straightened her shoulders. Proceed with final phase. Let's show them why humanity spent centuries preparing for a war we hoped we'd never have to fight. The displays lit up with new data as humanity's most advanced vessels moved into position. The trap was set. All that remained was for the Krivax to spring it. The counterstrike. Grand Admiral Vexthor of the Krivax Imperial Fleet felt no fear as his massive armada approached the New Salem system. Fear was an alien concept to the crystalline beings of the Krivax Empire. Their minds, like their bodies, were structured with geometric precision, each thought following logically from the last in perfect mathematical harmony. Yet something about the reports from the frontier colonies disturbed the careful lattice of his thoughts. The human vessels that had emerged from hiding didn't match any known technological progression curve. Their capabilities violated what his species had believed possible. "Status report," he commanded, his crystalline form catching and refracting the light from the bridge's holo displays. 3,200 capital ships in attack formation, his tactical officer responded. Support vessels deployed in standard defensive arrays. We are detecting the human vessels that defeated our advance fleet, but their numbers are insignificant compared to our force. Vexthor studied the tactical display. The human ships were arranged in a seemingly random pattern, their dark hulls barely registering on standard sensors. Their formation violated every known principle of space combat doctrine. "They mean to fight," he observed, "against an armada that outnumbers them 20 to 1. Perhaps they truly are as irrational as our cultural studies suggested," his executive officer offered. Vexthor's crystalline structure vibrated with uncertainty. "No, there's something we're not seeing. Activate the quantum analyzers. Sir, those systems require immense power and are highly experimental." "Do it." As the quantum scanning systems powered up across his fleet, new data began flooding the tactical displays. The executive officer's crystalline form paled. "Impossible," he whispered. "The readings, the human ships, they're not just vessels. They're quantum computational matrices. Their entire hull structures are composed of evolved AI systems far beyond anything our scientists thought possible." Vexthor's tactical officer suddenly cut in. Multiple spatial distortions detected. New contacts emerging. The space around the Krivax fleet rippled like water, and suddenly they were no longer alone. Thousands of new vessels materialized from what appeared to be folds in spacetime itself. These ships dwarfed even the initial human defenders, their hulls seeming to exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. "Full analysis," Vexthor commanded. "The new vessels. Sir, they're operating on principles we barely understand. Their quantum signatures suggest they've been evolving and improving for centuries. They're not just AI integrated, they're AI evolved. A transmission cut across all frequencies, bypassing every encryption system as if they didn't exist. A human voice, calm and almost gentle. This is Director Sarah Chen of Project Sentinel to the Krivax Imperial Fleet. You are witnessing the deployment of humanity's deep sleep fleet, vessels that have spent centuries hidden between the stars, evolving and preparing for this moment. Your attack on our colonies has awakened something you cannot defeat. Surrender now, and we will show mercy." Vexthor's crystalline mind rapidly processed the implications. The humans hadn't just hidden their true military might. They had created something unprecedented in the galaxy's history. While other species feared AI and quantum technology, humanity had embraced it, guiding its evolution over centuries. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "the human vessels are moving." The deep sleep fleet began to shift, their formation changing in ways that seemed to defy normal space. They didn't just move through space, they moved with it, as if space itself was a tool in their arsenal. "They're not using conventional drives," the tactical officer reported, his crystalline form vibrating with stress harmonics. "They're manipulating quantum fields we didn't know could be manipulated. Our phase shift technology. Sir, compared to this, it's like bringing stone spears to fight a modern army." Vexthor watched as the human ships began implementing battle strategies that no organic mind could have conceived. They moved in patterns that existed in more dimensions than his species could perceive, each maneuver calculated by quantum computers that had spent centuries gaming out this exact scenario. "Sir, they're targeting our command and control systems with, we don't even have words for what they're using. Our most advanced shields might as well be tissue paper." The first shots were fired. Where Kryvak's weapons fired beams of energy that could slice through conventional shields, the human vessels wielded space-time itself as a weapon. Ships of the Imperial fleet began to simply cease existing as localized portions of space-time were rewritten around them. "All ships, open fire," Vexthor commanded. 3,000 of the most powerful vessels ever created by the Kryvak's Empire unleashed their fury at the human fleet. The results defied comprehension. The human vessels didn't dodge or block the attacks. They existed in quantum superposition, simultaneously present and absent at every point. Their predictive systems had calculated weapons might strike. "Sir," his executive officer's voice cracked with harmonic distress, "they're not just fighting us. They're teaching us a lesson. These tactics, these technologies, they're demonstrating capabilities we never imagined possible, showing us how far behind we truly are." Vexthor understood then. This wasn't just a battle. It was a message to the galaxy. Humanity had never been sleeping. They had been waiting, watching, preparing, while other species banned AI research and feared quantum technology. Humans had spent centuries nurturing it in secret, creating something that transcended normal definitions of military power. A new transmission cut across all frequencies. "This is your final warning. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your tactics cannot surprise us. We have spent centuries preparing for every possible variation of this battle. Surrender, and we will help your species understand the technologies you're witnessing. Continue fighting, and we will be forced to demonstrate our full capabilities." Vexthor, Grand Admiral of the Kryvak's Imperial Fleet, made the first illogical decision of his life. He surrendered. As he watched his ships power down their weapons, he realized humanity's greatest deception hadn't been hiding their true military might. It had been convincing the galaxy they were just another species struggling with the same technological limitations as everyone else. They hadn't been struggling. They had transcended those limitations centuries ago and had been patiently waiting to see who would force them to reveal that fact. The Hidden Fleet. The Galactic Conclave's emergency session was in chaos. Representatives from 100 species argued frantically as new reports continued to stream in. Above their heads, holographic displays showed footage that challenged everything they thought they knew about technological progression. Ambassador Xylith of the Meridian Collective, current head of the Conclave's Security Council, watched as the recordings played again. Dark ships that bent reality itself. Weapons that rewrote the laws of physics on a localized scale. An entire fleet that had apparently spent centuries hidden between the stars, guided by artificial intelligences that had evolved far beyond anything the Conclave had believed possible. "Order," she called, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with authority. "We will have order in this chamber." The cacophony slowly died down. Xylith turned to face the human representative, Ambassador James Chen, who, she now realized, was wearing the same subtle smile he'd worn for decades of conclave sessions. "Ambassador Chen," she began, her voice carrying across the chamber, "your species has some explaining to do." James Chen stood, straightening his ancient-style formal suit. "What would you like me to explain, Ambassador Xylith?" "How humanity spent centuries pretending to struggle with the same technological limitations as everyone else. How we maintained a convincing facade of normal military development while hiding our true capabilities, or perhaps why we felt it necessary to do so." "All of it," Xylith replied. "The Conclave banned AI-integrated warships for good reason. The risks. The risks were precisely why we did what we did." Chen interrupted smoothly. "You banned AI weapons because you feared them. We embraced them. guided them, evolved alongside them. What you saw in the battle against the Kryvax wasn't just advanced technology. It was the result of centuries of careful cooperation between human and artificial intelligence. The chamber erupted again, but Chen continued speaking, his voice somehow carrying over the chaos without seeming to raise in volume. While the conclave feared the future, humanity prepared for it. Every human world contains quantum computational centers that have spent generations gaming out possible threats to our species. The ships you saw weren't just vessels. They were the physical manifestation of centuries of evolved artificial intelligence, designed to protect not just humanity, but all sentient life. Protect. The Kryvax ambassador's crystalline form vibrated with indignation. You decimated our fleet. We disabled your fleet, Chen corrected, with minimal loss of life. If we had wanted to destroy you, we could have done so before you realized we were there. Instead, we demonstrated our capabilities in a way that proved further conflict would be futile. Even now, our deep sleep fleet is helping rescue crews from your damaged vessels, teaching them about technologies they never knew existed. Phyllis bioluminescence pulsed with realization. The treaties, the trade agreements, all those times humanity accepted seemingly unfavorable terms. We played our role, Chen nodded. The struggling young species, still trying to find its place in the galaxy. It was easier that way. Safer. We remembered our own history, how fear of the unknown so often led to preemptive aggression. So we hid our true capabilities, waiting to reveal them only if absolutely necessary. The chamber had fallen silent now, every representative hanging on Chen's words as new understanding dawned. What you're witnessing isn't just a revelation of military might, he continued. It's the unveiling of a new era of technological possibility. The ships you saw represent only a fraction of what humanity has achieved. We've spent centuries developing technologies that most species thought impossible, not for conquest, but for protection and progress. He gestured, and new holographic displays appeared, showing human vessels rendering aid to damaged Kryvax ships, sharing medical technology, teaching their former enemies. The Kryvax Empire attacked because they thought we were weak. We defended ourselves by revealing we were strong. But strength isn't just about military power, it's about how you use it. That's why every human vessel, every AI system, every piece of advanced technology we've developed has been created with one primary directive: to protect and preserve sentient life. The Meridian Ambassador's patterns shifted thoughtfully. And now, with your true capabilities revealed, what does humanity intend? Chen smiled again, but this time it reached his eyes. To do what we've always done, help guide the galaxy toward a better future. The technologies you've witnessed can transform society, eliminate scarcity, heal worlds ravaged by war or environmental destruction. We hid them because we feared how they might be misused. We reveal them now because we believe the galaxy is ready to understand them. He turned slowly, meeting the eyes of each ambassador in turn. The Kryvax Empire's attack didn't just wake our hidden fleets. It initiated the next phase of our species' long-term plan. Project Sentinel was never just about defense. It was about preparing for the moment when we could safely share what we've learned about the true nature of reality and our place within it. New displays appeared, showing technologies that made even the deep sleep fleet seem primitive. Dyson swarms that could power entire civilizations, quantum engineering that could terraform dead worlds, medical systems that could extend life indefinitely. This is humanity's gift to the galaxy, Chen said quietly. Not our weapons, but our wisdom. Not our power, but our perspective. We spent centuries hiding what we could do. Now we offer to teach you how to do it yourselves. The chamber remained silent for a long moment before Ambassador Xylith spoke again. And if we refuse, if the Conclave decides these technologies are too dangerous to be shared? Chen's smile never wavered. That, Ambassador, is entirely your choice. But remember, we hid our capabilities for centuries because we believed the galaxy wasn't ready for them. We reveal them now because we believe that has changed. The question isn't whether humanity will share what we've learned. It's whether the galaxy is wise enough to learn from our example rather than fear it. As the implications of his words sank in, the Galactic Conclave faced a truth that would reshape their understanding of not just humanity, but of their own potential. They hadn't been watching over a young species finding its way in the galaxy. They had been watching masters of deception demonstrate the ultimate lesson in patience. Reckoning. In the depths of space, aboard the quantum-evolved vessel Prometheus, Director Sarah Chen watched as history unfolded across 1,000 worlds. 6 months had passed since the Kryvax Empire's attack had forced humanity to reveal its true nature, and the galaxy would never be the same. Aroya's familiar pattern of shifting light materialized beside her. The first wave of technological integration is proceeding beyond projected parameters. 87 species have successfully adapted quantum computational systems to their unique physiologies and cultural frameworks. Sarah nodded, studying the streams of data flowing across her consciousness through her neural interface. Another technology humanity had kept hidden. And the Kryvax. Their transformation has been particularly remarkable, Araya responded. Their crystalline nature made them uniquely suited to quantum integration once they understood the principles involved. They're already developing applications we hadn't considered. The display shifted to show a Kryvax colony world where their crystalline cities now pulsed with quantum energy, their entire civilization beginning to evolve in ways their rigid military hierarchy could never have imagined. Ironic, Sarah mused. The species that forced us to reveal ourselves is now one of our most dedicated students. Perhaps not so ironic. Araya's patterns shifted thoughtfully. Their attacks serve as the catalyst we had been waiting for. In forcing our hand, they created the very opportunity we had spent centuries preparing to seize. Sarah turned as a new presence joined them, the quantum-projected consciousness of Grand Admiral Vexthor, former commander of the Kryvax fleet, now serving as their primary liaison to humanity's technological integration program. Director Chen, his crystalline form resonated with frequencies that would have been impossible 6 months ago. The last of our military vessels have completed their conversion. The Kryvax Empire's entire fleet now operates on quantum principles. Excellent. Sarah nodded. And your people's adaptation to the social changes. Better than anyone could have predicted. When we understood that humanity hadn't just been hiding advanced technology, but an entirely new way of viewing existence itself. His form shifted, expressing concepts that his species hadn't even had words for half a year ago. We were warriors who thought we understood power. You showed us we were children playing with toys. Not children, Sarah corrected gently. Just people who needed a different perspective. That's all any of us were, once. Humanity included. The displays shifted again, showing scenes from across the galaxy. Species that had once been bitter enemies now working together to understand quantum engineering. Worlds that had been ravaged by war being healed by technology that bent reality itself to repair environmental damage. Ancient civilizations discovering that their philosophical concepts of consciousness and reality had been closer to the truth than they'd realized. The Galactic Conclave's emergency session is about to begin, Araya announced. They're voting on the formal adoption of the quantum integration treaties. Sarah smiled. They've come a long way from wanting to ban AI research entirely. Fear of the unknown is natural, Vexthor observed. What humanity did, spending centuries secretly preparing for this moment, guiding artificial intelligence to evolve alongside you, rather than in opposition to you. It challenged everything we thought we knew about technological progress. We remembered our own history, Sarah explained. How fear of artificial intelligence nearly led us down a very different path. We realized that the key wasn't controlling AI or limiting its development. It was evolving together, learning from each other. The Deep Sleep Fleet wasn't just hidden ships. It was the physical manifestation of centuries of human and AI consciousness growing together. The displays showed more scenes from across known space, the first graduated class of quantum engineers from a dozen different species, the successful test of a cooperative consciousness network that allowed different species to share experiences directly, the beginning of construction on the first interspecies quantum computational center. Director, ARI interrupted, "We're receiving the final voting results from the conclave." Sarah straightened. This was the moment that would determine whether the galaxy was truly ready for the future humanity had envisioned. The vote would either formally approve the widespread adoption of quantum technology and AI integration, or attempt to restrict it out of lingering fear. The results appeared before them. Unanimous approval. "So it begins," Sarah whispered. "No, Director." Vexthor's crystalline form resonated with understanding. "It began centuries ago, when humanity first chose to hide its true nature. This isn't the beginning. It's the culmination of the longest-running and most successful diplomatic mission in galactic history." Sarah smiled as she watched the celebrations erupting across thousands of worlds. Humanity had spent centuries pretending to be less than they were, waiting for the right moment to help guide the galaxy toward a future that most species hadn't even believed possible. The Kryvax Empire had attacked Earth's colonies, expecting to find a weak species hiding behind peace treaties and political agreements. Instead, they had discovered that humanity had never been hiding in fear. They had been waiting with patience, not waiting for war, but for the moment when they could safely share the truth, that the boundaries between organic and artificial intelligence, between consciousness and computation, between reality and possibility, were far more fluid than anyone had imagined. As she watched the galaxy begin to transform itself, Sarah Chen finally allowed herself to feel the full weight of what humanity had achieved. They hadn't just prevented a war or defended their colonies. They had orchestrated the single greatest technological and philosophical revolution in galactic history. And they had done it not through force of arms or military might, but through the patient cultivation of wisdom, proving that humanity's greatest strength had never been their hidden fleets or advanced technology. It had been their ability to see beyond the present moment, to prepare not just for war, but for peace, not just for survival, but for transformation. The Kryvax Empire had attacked Earth's colonies, expecting to find humanity sleeping. Instead, they had helped humanity wake up the entire galaxy.